really appreciate the introduction there. And I want to put, you know what I love? I don't know about women in person, but I love big purses because I can put so many different things in them. Tonight, I do have my sex toys in there. And if you're up with ladies and gentlemen, we'll be pulling those out in a while. So I do have a question. Who would love to have a sexual experience by the time I'm finished talking? Yeah, baby. All right. So just make sure. Excuse me?
So let's not be Canadian.
Oh, come on.
Polite, right? Let's do
Well, it's polite. So what I want to say is that I want to talk about intimacy. Is what I want to talk about before we get to sex, because when we start off in relationships with sex, connecting with sex as a first place of getting connected, it doesn't necessarily mean that we've got any discernment, judgment. And people say, oh, you shouldn't be judging. Well, I say judge when you're first dating people, for one thing. You need to have that level of discernment in order to distinguish what qualities and values you want to find in a partner. Sex is part of intimacy, but there's many different ways of being intimate. And right now, I'm doing a really crappy example of showing you how intimate I can be, because I'm feeling very nervous, okay? I've got a level of nervousness that's going on in my body, and I've had this fear of intimacy myself for, I don't know, almost forever in my life, okay? My journey, when I was a young teenager, when I was about 14, well, I wasn't about 14, when I was 14, I had not one experience, but 2 experiences being gang raped. So that really made me go underground and really put a shell up around myself and protect myself. So I didn't want anyone to know who I was. I didn't want to ever expose myself again, physically, emotionally, mentally. Because what it would mean, for me, I thought, or I believed, was that I wouldn't be able to be with those experiences. So I went into what I would call a very self-protective mode when I was very young. And from that experience, you can imagine me as a young adult going into my first relationship in my early 20s. So it's like, I so craved, as a woman, I craved connection, because that's the nature of the feminine, is connection and love. I craved it. And yet, because of this front and this protective nature and shell that I had over top of me, how I went about it was I came about it with a very masculine orientation. So my first partner was like, oh, well, you love me. And it was like, yes, we're together, we're in love, but you don't get me. So I had my 1 foot in and 1 foot out all the time in my relationship. And I don't know if anyone else can relate to that. 1 foot in, 1 foot out, yeah, exactly. Because they're not wanting to have that closeness or wanting to be exposed and opened up in an intimate way. So intimacy, when we start talking about intimacy, when I start talking about it, people say, oh, it's all about sex. Well, no, it's not all about sex. It's about, first off, learning at a deep level how to be intimate with yourself and understand what's going on for yourself. So raising your own personal consciousness about who you are and what you stand for. So my journey during my 20s at that point was a point of evaluation, really learning to own who I was, own my sexuality again, claim it back, and also to hold myself in high esteem and high regard. Because part of the problem when I was violated was I wronged myself. Somehow I had brought that on myself. And somehow I was to blame, and I was very self-abusive in my teens. So it took through my 20s and that growth to really come back to saying, this is who I am. And no, there's no blame in what happened. It's just what happened. And to come to forgiving myself at that time, and then also to forgiving the people that participated in those experiences. So, you know, one of the things that I know about myself from that place of intimacy was really understanding what I wanted. And I wanted that deep connection in a relationship. My first relationship, because I couldn't put myself in 100%, I couldn't be in that relation 100%, it didn't last. And we had come together not from a healthy, strong place, both of us. We were both two halves. We were those individuals, the two halves, wanting to complete the other. The dependent relationship. That was my relationship when I was in my 20s. So then when I got into my 30s and into another relationship, another dimension, that experience was more about being in experimenting and exploring my own ability to open myself up to love and to intimacy and to sexuality. Because during the time that my partner and I in our 20s, through our acts of intercourse, we had great sex, is what we thought. We had great sex. But it was very, what I would call rote. You know, the standard fare. There was no depth to it. There was no exploration. So we were both very much inhibited. So I was very fortunate in my 30s to have a partner that was very kind and gentle and easy with me, and also helped me navigate into deeper levels of being open. So he created a very safe space for me to be in sexually, which was beautiful. It was absolutely incredible for me to be in that space with him. So my journey has been one of being closed down totally and not even wanting to look at who I was, how I was, and that level of intimacy, to exploring sexual intimacy in my 30s. And then in my 40s, it's about showing up in my life and being able to stand here and talk and be intimate and talk about these intimate details of my life with you. And this is some of the work that I do with women today. And yes, intimacy does ultimately, not ultimately, it doesn't always lead to sex, because there's ways of being intimate. When you're walking down the street and you can make eye contact with a person and say, hello, that's an act of intimacy. There's an energetic exchange. Or when you're at the grocery store and you're walking with your head down, you're not being intimate, you're not being connected with the people around you. And it's important to develop those levels of intimacy so that when you are in a relationship, and you can look at your relationship and see if you are being intimate or you've got that capability or that access. And we all have various levels of being intimate. One of the ways of being intimate is being able to tell our own truth. You know, it's the highest level of intimacy, is to be able to say your own truth and what you need in a relationship. Because we all have needs. And it's to risk being vulnerable. That person may reject you, they may shun you, hopefully not. If you're in a really great relationship, hopefully not. But there may be some backlash. There may be. But it's a risk for you to say, this is who I am, and this is what I need. I need you to love me like this. I need you to care for me like this. And it's not a place of weakness to say that we have needs. It's a place of strength, of claiming that we are human and we are on this planet to work together, and that we have basic needs. You know, even sex. Sex is a need. You look at Maslow's hierarchy. It's a basic fundamental need that we have. And how we have sex is just as important. To be able to say what it is that you need in a relationship. So I wanted to explain a little bit about how, when I say I close down and I use my hands, here's some of the stuff that I know about what I've learned over the years about how people present in the world, and how I present it. So there's these two energies in the world. And again, whatever I say is a bunch of BS, by the way. Okay? I just want you to be clear, okay? BS. Stands for belief systems, okay? These are my belief systems, but it's BS. Okay? So you take what you like and you can leave the rest behind, because that's how it goes. So there's these two energies in the world. And we know them. You've heard of yin and yang, the symbol. You can imagine the symbol, the light and the dark, and they're reciprocal. So the amount of enlightenment that people have in their lives, we go around saying, oh, I want to be enlightened, but don't give me the dark. But if you notice those symbols, they're reciprocal. So the amount that you're willing to accept and own your shadow, your dark side, the reciprocal of it, is to the degree that you're going to expand your enlightenment. So, you know, one thing that got me, I was talking to another coach one day, and I said, hey, you know, I was a little bit angry about something. I was angry about something. She said, oh, no, we don't do anger. We don't do anger. And I was like, what? I said, anger. Anger is just a signal that there's maybe some value that's being stepped on. There's something like that going on. I said, and I get angry. It's how you use the anger. What you use it for. I said, you know what? I think Jesus was angry when he smashed the temple. And I think that Mother Teresa was a little bit angry when she took up what she was doing in her life. So anger can be used as a very healthy thing. So this yin and the yang, there's this reciprocal. So I just wanted to say that's one way of looking at the light and the dark shadow that we have. Another way that I use is of talking about the masculine and the feminine. So the feminine in the world is all about being. It's about really being in your body. It's about that creative, nurturing, caring side of who we are. It's about being in flow and allowing things, how we're built that way. We're built to allow and receive into our bodies, into our souls. That's how the feminine is designed in this world. And that's the feminine. She's in life, and she's exploring and moving through all of life. Whereas the masculine is, and I want to say this, masculine and feminine, I'm not talking about men and women. I'm talking about energetic masculine and feminine. We have both inside of us. In order for me to get here today, I was in my masculine, because the masculine is direction. The masculine is planning and plotting and analytical thinking. And the doer, it's the guy that wants to fix things. And even the women that want to fix things, they're using their masculine to want to fix things. So the masculine is the plotter, the planner, the doer, the thinker, the consciousness. It's that witness, what we're looking at. The feminine, she's in life, and she's moving, and she's grooving, and she's in life, and she's exploring, and she's tasting. She's everything about senses and sensuality. That's the feminine. So the feminine loves the masculine, because the master, the doer, he can protect and he can provide for the feminine within us. So my first journey of intimacy was to understand my relationship with my masculine and my feminine inside of me. Now my masculine was blueprinted after my primary caregivers, much like yours are. And my masculine was not a benevolent masculine when I grew up. So my blueprint for a masculine was a really nasty bitch, how that showed up. It was like, oh yeah? You want to take me on? Come on. We can do this. Okay? Worked very well in the corporate world, which is where I came from. So I was really plotting, planning, thinking I was aggressive. I got the job done. I made the deadlines. I did everything. And I didn't care who got in my way. It was going to get done. That's it. And that's how I was. And I was like that in my relationships as well. Get out of my way or I'll bulldoze you. And that was my masculine that was protecting me. Now the masculine in me is healthy now. And it serves the feminine. So when my masculine is operating in service of love by saying, Julie, get your clothes on, get out the door, and get to the event. Okay, honey. Little voice in my head, right? So when my masculine is in service of love, which is the essence of the feminine, then it can operate in a very healthy, conscious way. So here's what I noticed. When I started doing coaching years ago, I was doing executive coaching. And I was working with CEO, CFO women, primarily in transition. And they would come and say, yeah, it's a man's world out there, and I got to get the next job, and I got to do this, I got to do that, and I got to compete. I'm exaggerating, it wasn't quite like that, but it's close, okay? So these women were very, very forceful, and they resonated. They were a mirror image of what I was going, it's like, oh, it's curious what I'm getting in my clients. And what I found as we drilled down and we did the work and the core value work and everything, these women were like dying on the inside. They were like dying. They wanted to go home. They wanted to put their laptops down. They wanted to go play with their kids. They didn't want to say, get out of my way, I got 3 hours of work to do. They wanted to have fun. They wanted to relax, which is the nature of the feminine, just to be in the flow and enjoying life. And they were so much on their masculine that I got really curious. Like, what was I seeing? Because I didn't even, at the time, I didn't know what it was I couldn't name it masculine and feminine. I didn't even know that that's what I was witnessing. And so when I started doing my studies about this, the dance of the masculine and the feminine internally, and then how it presented, what I found was a very interesting thing, was that when we had the feminist movement, it was really very powerful, and it was needed. It was so needed in order to break through a lot of the stuff that was going on. But it did not free women to be feminine women. It freed women to be masculine women. And that's not the nature of, in the essence of the feminine. The feminine wants to be free and flowy. She wants to relax. She wants to be provided for. She wants to be pleasured. And it's not to say that we can't get up and cook and do dishes and go to work and have all these things. But what do you do when you've got women out there in the workforce that are so much in their masculine? When they come home, it's two men facing each other, even though one looks like a woman and the other one looks like a man. You think it's funny, but it's not funny. I'm going to show you something. This is where I get my first sex toys out. Hang on. Don't know if I can talk to you. First sex toys. Now I need two hands. Cindy, can I borrow you to hold the mic for me? Hold the mic. Thank you. So, if this is the masculine, like the law that I'm talking about, masculine and feminine, it's a law. It's a universal law. It's a part of nature. It's not. I'm not making this up. This is not bullshit. So, these are magnets. Stand here. Now, with the magnets, if this is the masculine energy and this is the feminine energy, when they come together, they stay together. They stay connected. And when we're in a relationship, and a woman, and again, we have masculine and feminine, so in any relationship, for the context I'm going to speak about, I'm going to talk about women being in their feminine and men being in the masculine, just to keep it simple. But I know there's different variations, okay? So I'm not going to go there right now, just saying. For this, masculine is man, feminine is women. So when a woman has been out in corporate and she's been working all day in her masculine, she walks in the door, this is what happens. You can't connect. You can't connect with your partner. So women, how do you switch it to go back into your feminine after you've been at work? So what I'm talking about, here, you can play with those if you'd like. The toys, yeah, thank you. The sex toys. So the masculine and feminine energy is definitely a law, a universal law. So how do we switch? How do we do this? And where does the feminine live and where does the masculine live? Well, the masculine being consciousness, okay? Masculine is consciousness. The masculine lives above the shoulders. It's the mindfulness. It's that heady place. That's where all the thinking and the plotting and the linear thinking belongs, is up in the brain. And the feminine, the intuitive, creative, natural body of the feminine resides down here. I bet most people don't know that, about 100 years ago, they took the first brain, which they now call the second brain, out of the what are those called? Anatomy books. The anatomy books. There are more neurons and more serotonin through the abdomen than there are in the brain. Most people don't know that. So when people say, hey, I got a gut sense about something, you know what? I'm feeling a little bit queasy. Or, oh, that feels really good, I'm getting butterflies. That's because that's how the primary brain, our intuition, works. And this is where the feminine lives, through the womb space. And when we are living up here, and not in our bodies, and feeling our bodies, and being in touch with our felt sense of everything, of all of life, then we can't connect with our partner. So a couple different tips. I'll just give you a couple different tips that I say about how to do a transition, for example, from the masculine to the feminine. When you want to get in your body, you need to get in your body. So if you need to run your hands over yourself, then do that. If you need to take deep breaths and feel your breath going through you and softening your stomach, then do that. If you need to move and feel your body, that'll get you in your body and not in your head. Because here's the thing, so many women, they say, well, I had a great date with this guy. And we talked, 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 and we compared good notes, and we got along, and we matched on this and that. He never called me. Well, he's good. Why would he call you? He doesn't want a boyfriend. He doesn't. He wants a girlfriend. He wants a woman that's going to be in her body so that he can get out of his head, because that's where the masculine lives, is in their head. He wants to get in his body. So it's the woman's responsibility to be embodying her femininity in order for the masculine to get into his body as well, connect. Because that's what we all want. We all want connection. Ultimately, that's what we're here for, is to connect. And men and women connect differently. So for a woman to get into her body, it could mean that she could be touching herself. You know, sitting there on a date, you're on a date with a guy, and, you know, it could be a first date, and you want to have that man be electrified towards you. Simple things like moving your hair and touching yourself. And like, you know, just touching yourself. And keep talking. You're not going to draw your attention to touching yourself, but you're going to touch yourself. When a woman does that, the guy goes, I want to do that too. And that's something that makes a difference. So here's the other thing about the feminine. Women, because of our nature, we want to commune and we want to collaborate. So women, when we get together, we talk and we talk and we talk and we talk and we talk. And we love doing that. We can go on endlessly because that's another nature of the feminine, is we always want more. Oh, let's not stop. Let's keep going and going. Whereas the masculine, the main driver for the masculine is they want completion. They want freedom. They want out of here. Are you done yet, honey? Can you stop talking? Okay? Everyone experience that? Can I fix this for you so it's done? Can we move on now, dear? These are the types of things the masculine is looking for, is for completion in the conversation. They want freedom, and freedom equals completion. Fix it, get it done, it's done. So, now I forgot what my point was. Where was I? Oh my God, my feminine. Was it the flow that I switch-hitted and I messed up? That's okay. So anyways, yes, the women, we talk and talk and talk, as I'm doing right now, and not completing. So here's the thing that gets in the way. Women want connection. Okay, is there a woman here in the room that doesn't really want to be connected with other people? Partner. I don't see any hands going up. Okay? And I know men want that too. I'm not excluding you from that. But at the same time, you want it differently. Men want it through physical touch initially, whereas the women want to talk about it. Let's talk about getting connected. And it's like, no, let's just do it. You know? So that's kind of how the masculine and the feminine operate. And we make the other party wrong for it. So we say, you know, all the guy wants is sex or to be touched. Men don't want sex, they want connection. But they want physical connection. And it could mean a wife going and sitting in her husband's lap quietly, which is my other tip. Hang on. This one I love. Duct tape, ladies. It works. It works. This is my favorite sex toy. This is about connection without communication. So I don't know where you want to apply it, but you're welcome. It works. So and it's true. So if you want to, well, when I say it's true, again, it's BS, it's my truth. Okay, so you can try this on if you want. If you want your partner to get connected with you, with ladies, the best thing to do is to get into your body, cuddle up to him, get in his lap, put your arms around him, kiss him, whatever you need to do to get him attached to his own body. And then you've got his undivided attention. Once you've gotten him out of his head and into his body, he's like, yeah, I'm here, baby. And then you can have those conversations that you're looking to have. Okay? But only after the connection. Men don't connect by going, honey, I want to talk. It's like, ooh, he's gone. He's going to go. All right? And the other thing about the feminine's very flowy. Where the masculine, you know, they're built. They've got those things in front of them that are built for penetration, you know, and direction. They're built that way, okay? So when a woman actually approaches a man, and she's like angular, her shoulders back, she's like marching, hey, how you doing? Right? That's like very masculine orientation. So very masculine orientation. So when a woman actually starts getting into her feminine, she uses her body, she grounds through her hips, through her pelvis, down lower, and operates from that place, moves from that place, speaks from that place, and then approaches. And it can't be like a handshake, might be something more gentle, flowy, motion. See, the masculine, and what guy, okay, any guy here, would you be more attracted to a woman that actually was like moving and grooving, or one that was walking like an army sergeant? Anyone? Who wants the army sergeant? Hand just go up. No. The masculine loves the energy of the female. The masculine is built to conserve energy because he has to provide and protect and fight. That's, very primal. Very, very primal. That's his nature. So he conserves the energy, but he loves to watch. You remember when you were kids at a schoolyard? I've got 5 minutes? Okay. I could go longer. But I won't. Okay. When you were in a schoolyard, at a grade school, and you were doing, and they had the school dances? All right, you remember the school dances? The lights go off, the music starts, and all the young girls, they go. Mostly it's the young girls that go, and they're out there, and they have no problem jiving and moving and being in the flow of what's going on, right? They love that. And yet, all the little boys, they're all around on the outside, for the most part, and they're watching the girls, because they love watching the energy of the feminine. And that's even shown at a very, very young age. And then the boys will join. But it takes the girls to actually be in their feminine and their energy and the movement of being a woman for them to want to engage. So I just wanted to say that, I hope that what I've said, and I know what I've said works because I practice what I preach, and the ladies that are using these principles and come to my workshops, they're getting a lot of value and a lot of fun, and so are their partners. Out of Oh yeah. So I've just given you a snippet of what I believe and some of the practices that I do. So I do a lot of what I'll call embodiment practices. And I work with the energies, the masculine and feminine. And I work with a lot of different modalities that I've learned over the years. So it's my personal practice of about 30 years of gaining a body of knowledge, going through relationships that didn't work, and really understanding who I am. And one of the things that I do know about teachers, or about being a teacher, I get the toughest lessons about the things that I have to teach. Because if I don't get the tough lessons, then I can't lead the way. Because I can't teach anything that I don't already know and I don't have it own in my own body. So the type of people, and I love what Monica said about gravitating, the type of people that come. The type of people are the people that have walked the path that I walked from when I was young all the way up here to where I am right now. Those are my ideal clients for the women. Now, I have a workshop coming up on April 13th. It's an all-day embodiment, I'll call it a women's spa day. So it's really good for the mind, the body, and the soul. And primarily it's attracting women that are wanting to really understand more about who they are and relaxing their own bodies, get better connection with their partners, or even get into a relationship. They're challenged in that, not knowing what they're doing wrong. And there's nothing wrong. Okay? There is nothing wrong. So that's on the 13th. And the other thing, I also have a partner, Chris St. John, and he and I do prices of a really, really unique intensive with couples. So we have couples that come in, and whatever it is that they say that they want when they walk in the door, they're not leaving until they get it. And that's all there is to that. It usually takes about 6 hours. And we do these very transformational, body-centered, I don't know how else to describe it, intensives. Because a lot of times with more normal coaching, what happens is, or especially relationships with couples in crisis, they get into a crisis, and it's built up over years in most cases. It doesn't happen overnight. It builds up over years, and what happens is they come to a counselor and they get an hour of coaching, and then they get a whole week of shit again, right? And then they come back to the counselor, and instead of taking one step forward, maybe two back, maybe half a step forward, week over week over week. So through staying in the tension of what's going on, that's where true transformation can occur. You stay in the tension of what's happening, and you allow the breakthroughs to come, and people get reconnected. Like, it's incredible. So anyways, those are the couple things that I do and we offer. So if anyone's interested, come talk to me after. All right? Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.